Hi, I'm Julia, and this is my shed. So we're carrying on with the Britannia project today. We've just got a few last things to sort out on the smokebox. We've got a hole for the regulator because the regulator drive is external, so we need to sort that out. And we've got a hole here for a snifter valve. So as is normal on this project, we've got some of the parts, but not all of them. So we'll need to make at least a nut for that, and we need to probably need to modify this lever as well. So yeah, so stay tuned, and we'll try and get the smokebox done today. If I get a chance, I'll try and do the riveting as well, but I may not have enough rivets, so I might have to become a rivet counter. Oh, the horror! Okay, so we're looking inside the smokebox. This bit I'm wiggling around a bit is the regulator shaft. So I'm just holding it at the correct height. We need to have a lever attached to this handle, and it needs to clear the top of the superheater. So I'm just sort of measuring roughly by eye. I think we need sort of about something like 22 mil, something like that. So that's a bit that's missing, of course. Has got not sure if you can see there, but there is an interestingly shaped end on that. But what we actually need is a handle coming down, and basically there's on the valve there'll be a corresponding handle, and they sort of link together, but they're on different axes, so it's sort of a slot arrangement. So I hope that's clear. Hope that's clear anyway. So it's quite an unusual shape. So hopefully this makes things a bit clearer. So this is the external flange, and there'll be a small lever held in with this with a pin here. So that gives you the movement for operating the regulator. And I'm not sure if you can probably see from this, the actual regulator will be a gas valve. So this photo's from the Britannia Builder website. So I've had a lot of luck using gas valves as regulators. They seal really well. So I will go with this idea. But as you can see, the axes don't line up. So to get around that, they have a lever with a bit sticking out on the actuating arm, and then a second lever on the actual valve with a slot in it, so that it can take up any movement vertically using the slot. So I don't have these parts here at all. I've just got this bit. So what I intend to do is make this part today, so that I can fix all of this to the smoke box. It's not very clear how this end is actually attached. Obviously there's some kind of slot that's been machined in the end. I mean, it's possibly just held in with Loctite on the kit, but I don't think I'd trust that in the pretty harsh environment that's inside a smoke box. So I think what I'll do is I'll mill a slot, and then I'll silver solder this this rod into the lever. So that kind of means I need to get the size roughly right. So I've sort of measured it, as you just saw on the actual smoke box. I think this is about 22 millimeters long, but what I can also do is try and scale it from the photograph as well. So I'll have a go at doing that. so we don't actually need to do much scaling. So on the photograph, this distance here is 45mm. If I go to the length of this bar, that's also 45mm. So I know that this bar is the same length as this, so I can measure it from this part. So that's the overall length is actually 32, so that's longer than I thought actually, although I was working for centres. So that's going to be the first job, is to get some bar. I'll try and make it about the same width as this boss, it doesn't need to be any bigger, and we'll try and put the two features on that we need and take it from there. Right, so I've found this bit of brass bar. The thickness looks good. If you sort of compare it with the photo, it's about half the thickness of that that section. So what I'll do is I'll keep it. I'll clean up the end. What we need to do is mill a slot the same thickness of this, so that we can fit that in. Doesn't have to be particularly accurate, because I think I'm going to silver solder that in, and then we'll measure off 32 and drill a hole. But yeah, I think this will do, so we can do all of the work with it attached to this, and then the last thing will be just to cut it off. So let's go to the milling machine, shall we? Okay, so the first thing we need to do is just square off this end. So I'll just feed it in and then cut it, move it backwards and forwards, just so we get a nice square edge. It's not particularly important, but it just looks a bit nicer. And I'll probably just by hand round the ends off a little bit with the file. So I'm just using this big cutter. It's just the first one that came to hand, really. There we go, that's nice and square. Off camera, I've marked the centre line of this. You could use the DRO to split the sides, but unfortunately my DRO on this axis isn't working, so it's yet another thing to fix at some point. So now I'm just going to use the wiggler just to line myself up with the line that I've scribed. You can see it's made a mark, and that is spot on the line, so it's not super critical, but you know, I'd like to get it pretty close if I can. So that's the wiggler out the way. So I'll just find a cutter that's the right thickness or a bit smaller, and we'll make a little slot. The slot needs to be 3.4 mil, something like that, wide, which is probably some weird imperial measurement. So I've got a 3mm FC3 cutter there, so we'll plunge that in. I need to figure out the width as well, but we'll plunge that in, move it along, and then we'll just have to push it out sideways a little bit. We've gone full depth now, so I've just moved it towards me by 0.2 of a millimetre. And I'm just shaving off 0.2 from this side. So let's give that a try. I've got a feeling that second cut wasn't enough, but we can have a look, can't we? Well, actually, look at that. Perfect! Well, that doesn't happen very often. Excellent. That's my DRO going completely bonkers for some reason or other. Yeah, it's all this cheap Chinese stuff. It doesn't last that well, does it? Oh dear. It's not happy. It's not happy. Let's see if I can find the centre again, which is about there, I think. So I need to drill a hole at this end. I think I'll probably go about an M4. It looks a bit smaller than this shaft diameter, so I'll figure that out. And we'll do some drilling. So between centres, I think we've got about 25.5. So I'll drill these holes. It'll be I'm going to go M4, so it'll be a 4mm. So it's a fairly tight clearance hole. And yeah, we'll do that. There we go. I'll just change to the 4mm drill and bring you back. Right, so all I need to do now is cut this to size and we're done. So I've marked this off a little bit long, but we can always shorten it later on if we need to. This blade's a little bit slack. Tighten it up a bit. There we go. So we'll round the corners off a little bit just to make it look nice. Okay, so that's that prepared. What I'll do is silver solder these two parts together, and then we can always clean up this edge, just round it over a bit, make it look a bit nicer. But it's not strictly necessary. But, we want it to be nice and strong. That's the main thing. So yeah, I'll get some flux mixed up and I'll silver solder that together. Okay, so that's them two silver soldered together. So what I did was I just put a small piece of silver solder here, sort of heated round the back, so it got drawn through and round the joint. I think we've got a nice fillet of silver solder there, so that looks pretty good actually. I did give it a quick spray with soapy water to get the worst of the flux off it. So I'll let that cool down and then we can carry on. So I've had a nice card in the post from David, aka Myford Boy. Many thanks for the sticker, David, and the nice card. It is seasonal after all. I shall get that up on my sticker board if I can remember where I put it. I shall go and find it. But yeah, thank you for that. For those that haven't come across his channel, yeah, where have you been? Really fantastic. I've been following him for a number of years. Really great casting videos, lots of fantastic model engineering as well. I particularly like his latest project. Always fancied a Victory because I'm quite into my garden railways as well. So yeah, go pop along and have a look at his channel if you haven't already, if you don't already know it. Very interesting. If you like my channel, you'll certainly like his. So all the best, David, and I shall get some stickers off to you as well in the new year. So yeah, thanks a lot. So I've given that a bit of a clean up with the brass soft brush just to get the worst of the corrosion, not corrosion, carbonisation or whatever. As you can see, we've got a great fillet all the way around here, and we've got penetration through the joint as well. So that's going to be nice and strong. So that's good. I shall just round this end off a little bit so it matches the curve of this part, just so it looks nice, really. And we'll try it on the loco. Okay, so now we can attach the regulator lever bracket. So I'll get that done. We'll do that on time lapse as it's a little bit fiddly, and I'll bring you back when it's done. So the next job is to mount the actuating lever, and you can't really see, but this space is a little bit too long, so I need to pop that in the lathe. I'll do that off camera because it's just a quick. Literally just need to take 1/2 mil off the end of here, so I'll bring you back once I've done that. Okay, so I've shaved a bit off there. I'm just going to see if I can put this pin in or not. Actually, the pin's quite pin going that way. It'll go in that way. There we go. It's quite a tight fit, but that will work in. It's just moving quite freely. There's a potential vacuum leak here, so we want it to be nice and tight. So that moves, but it's not sloppy or anything. So that's spot on, I think. So the when the inner one's pointing down, so is this one. I had to just go and check some photos to make sure that was correct, but I think we're there. That's great. So that will wear in a little bit anyway, but it's already quite free. In fact, if I put a little bit of oil on it, it'll probably be perfect. Just pop some oil on there. That's lovely. Work it in. Yeah, so that's another thing done then. So the next job is the snifter valve. So I've got most of the parts for that. So you can see there we go. So that's the external part of the regulator done. And we'll do all the gas valve part a bit later on, probably early next year, hopefully. Again, that's something that there's a lot of parts missing, so it will take some effort to recreate. I think this is a taper pin actually, because that is tightening up each time I tap it in a bit nearer, a bit closer, so that's good. So these are some of the parts I've got for the snifter valve. I've got 2 of these locking rings, locking nuts. This one's quite chunky, so I've got a smaller one, which would probably be more suitable. I've got the pipe. I think that's just to allow air to pass when the balls pulls back. What I haven't got is a nut to. This obviously goes through the smoke box. I need a nut. Obviously, we've got some washers, which is helpful. So we need a nut for this. I have got that nut, but it's the wrong size. I mean, I could possibly make it a bit bigger. I mean, I could thread it out to the next size. I might try and do that actually, because I don't know what this nut's for. In fact, is that going in? Oh, it is going in. That is the right nut. It's alright. It's obviously just needed deburring a bit. It wouldn't go in. I tried to put it in the other way around yesterday. Oh, that's good. It's one less thing to make. So I'll deburr this, and yeah, oh, that's going in nicely now. Look at that. Well, that's a Christmas miracle, or at least a Brucey bonus. So yeah, I'll carry on playing around with this, and I'll bring you back in a moment. So off camera, I've just added a chamfer to this snifter valve outer casing, just to make it look a bit nicer, because it was quite a sharp edge there. Just looks a little bit better maybe. I've had to run a dye down this thread here as well. It wasn't quite formed properly, so hopefully that's all done. So we have got a ball here which I think is the right size, so let's see if we can get this out. So snifter valves are notorious for leaking anyway, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it. But let's try to have a look at this ball, see what condition it's in. Okay, so from its colour I can tell that's a phosphor bronze ball. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just got a very slight coppery colour to it, so I'll try and clean all the grit out of there, but that sits in quite nicely. I'm just measuring the height to the top of the ball. Yeah, 10.2. So there should be enough space there for the ball to lift, which is what we want. So that's perfect. So that will go all the way in. So actually, we can do that now. I think we can just screw that in. So I'm not sure if you can hear that, but it's rattling slightly. So that's good. So let's mount this on the smoke box. Okay, so what I will do is put a washer on the inside. So I'm not sure how well this is going to be sealing, but we'll give it a go and see what it looks like. Okay, so this lock nut doesn't go over the body, the internal, so I'm just going to have to take that off for a second. So I have got more of these brass washers, so I'm not sure if I need to fit more than one, but hopefully you can see that. So we'll pop the body in. And if we can tighten the main body up a bit more. Right. Okay, that looks pretty good. So there we go. So that's the snifter valve in place. So the snifter valve is on the left hand side. Just bring it out a bit so we can see. Okay, so it's on the same side as the regulator handle. So that's that. On the other side there is a smaller hole, so I don't know what that's for. So if anybody knows what that's for, leave a comment. And I've also got 3 holes here. I don't know what those are for either. So that's your opportunity to show your general knowledge of Britannia. So anyway, hope you like that. Bit of a short one this week, just due to having Christmas stuff to do really. So be spending a bit of time with the family. But I hope you enjoyed that. Like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh, and happy Christmas and a great new year to all my viewers. Thanks for your support. Much appreciated.